Hi everyone, it's Alex. Today we're going to work on this heavy ass walker from the First Order. It's from the Star Wars saga, and basically this is a toy from Revel. It's a big toy, but it's a toy still. And what we're going to do today is try to add some effects which are realistic in order to have a finish that is interesting and realistic, as I said, using different mediums such as the oil paints and enamel products. So we are going to try to get effects like these, like grease and dirt and streaks and mud. So basically, I'm going to show you different techniques, and today we're going to work with the Oilbrushers from the Amomig Reminisce range. These are cool paints because they are they have a built-in applicator which is just perfect to add amounts of paint on your model, and what you just have to do is apply the paint and do it. It's cool because even if you tilt the bottle, it won't spill oil everywhere. You won't have oil on your fingers and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. So let's get going. This part is brand new. What I did is basically adding a dark gray color, then adding a whitewash, and then I removed a part of the gray color and the part of the whitewash. And so what we're going to do today is first add some streaks using the Oilbrusher, the white color. It's a very cool color, and so let's do it. All I do is very simple actually, is I simply start by adding small dots of paint on the model, and then I will streak it using my brushes and some thinner. So here is for the example. I'm going just to add a small dot of paint just like this, and then then what we're going to do is take a brush, a 2-0 brush, sorry, and grab some thinner, remove most of the thinner on a paper towel, and then simply streak the paint. So what I do basically is just I really barely touch the paint. I really brush the model on the side using a very fine brush like this, and I try to feather it out as much as I can, just to get very, very subtle streaks. When doing this, it's easier to actually to turn the model around so as to get the best movement for your brush, so that you don't have to twist your wrists, and so basically turn it around and then add the paint. Once you're happy with the streak, I think it's fair enough. What I usually do is I dry it. The thing is, I dry it simply because I don't have any varnish on this model, on my models in general. I really don't like to use varnishes because I like to work the paint as fast as possible, and I don't like to wait actually. So there we go. Okay, so after a short burst of hot air, I think that the surface is ready. So now we're going to move on and add other effects, still using the white color, so the white Oilbrusher. And this time we're going to enhance the whitewash. So what I'm going to do here is basically add small amounts of paint here and there, just to have a stronger white on my dirty whitewash, like this. And then again, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to add some effects on it. So I'm going just simply to stipple the paint so that the paint gets into the surface and gets a very random appearance, which is just what I look for. I don't want to drag the paint this time. I'm just going to dab it around and play with the matter like this, so as to get very, very, very subtle and random effects. It's kind of gritty, which is just exactly what I'm looking for. This technique is very, very powerful because you can really get the kind of effects that you really want to have. You can get smooth effects if you just drag the paint, but you can also have some rough effects. And concerning the whitewash, this is exactly what I want. I want something which is very irregular, that has very interesting effects, and something that is not very smooth. I just really want to have some texture to it. So here, again, stippling is just the way to go. There we go. This is exactly what I was looking for. Again, I'm going to dry this very quickly. So, look here. This is exactly the kind of effect I was looking for. The paint here is whiter, of course, because it's pure white, but also it's also very, how can I say this? It has some structure, it has some texture to it, which is perfectly the kind of effect I was looking for, because the whitewash is not supposed to be very smooth. It's just, it just gets into the corners, and it's very hard to go, but still some of it is gone with the wind, with the rains and stuff like this, with the different scratches that it can have. So basically, this is what you want to have if you want to have some kind of realistic effects. Now let's move on to another part, which is the bottom of this leg. What we're going to do now is add some dust first and some mud then. So we're going to add some dry mud and then add some wet mud on it. So we're going to use actually 2 or 3 different colors. The first one is not a medium gray. The first one should be a buff color or a dust color. A dusty earth color, it's perfect to this. Then a dust color, and then we'll end up with using a dark mud. What the goal here actually is to get different layered effects. As you can see here on this part, we have 2 or 3 different colors. We have a very light color that is going up the leg, and then we have a darker color right here, which is some wet mud. Same goes here. We have different shades, and it's getting very dark near the corners of this part. So basically, this is what we're going to look for, and this is what we're going to get very simply with these oil brushes. We're going to start with the very light color, which is the dusty earth. And simply what we're going to do is the same as before, which is adding first some dust color on the leg, just like this. So we're just going to add some dots of paint. I'm not doing it on the whole surface simply because of this video, but of course I would just move on and add some oil paints all around the leg. And then with a flat brush, a very old and worn out flat brush, which is this one, I really like it, we're going to add some texture to the dust. So first off, I get rid of most of the thinner I have on my brush, and then I just stipple the paint around just to get these nice effects. So as you can see here, the paint gets very, very it's a very rough effect first, but it's not a problem. Okay, we're going to take more thinner again, and we're going to simply to remove a bit of that dust to make it more irregular. Note that I also switch the position of my brush. I I don't want to get the same pattern with my brush. I really want to have very random effects, and if you just press the brush on the same direction, you will have a repeated pattern of oil paints, which is not what you want to get. So basically this is it. Okay, so now it looks more realistic. Now we have a layer of dried mud, and so now we're going to dry this again, and now we're going to move on and use a different color, which is the dust color. It's a slightly darker color, but it's going to be very, very cool to get the effects we're looking for. So here again, I use the built-in applicator and just add some dots of paint. This time I'm using less paint. I don't want to cover the whole surface. I don't want to go as upwards as I did just previously. So we're just going to concentrate this effect now on the 2/3 of the previous previous texture. So let's do this again with my brush. I stipple the paint, make it get into and mix with the previous layer. Okay, this is good. And now we have a nice and realistic first dried mud. This is looking harsh for the moment, but wait a minute. With this dark mud color, we're going to have a very, very interesting effect. The colors are going to melt this time, to blend, and we are going to get a different gradations of colors, because this one is very, very dark. So once again, I will use the built-in applicator, and this time I will concentrate most of the dirt on the lower part of the leg, like this. And once again, we're going to blend this. So this time I'm being more careful. I don't want to add dirt everywhere. I don't want to cover my previous effects. So basically, I'm just going to work the surface and make it more irregular this time. Like that. So see, this is starting to look great, actually. Okay, this is a bit uniform, actually. This is a bit homogeneous, but this is not a problem, because we're going to go over it again and again, and maybe later add pigments. But still, we have a good base. We have a good start here. We have a good map. We have different colors: a light, a dusty earth, then a dust color, and then another one which is a dark mud color. So this is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, I can even go darker now, because once I used this one, it started to blend with the previous color. But if I add another layer of this oil paint, I will get a darker color again. And I can go even darker using a darker color, for example, very, very dark brown color. Okay, so I'm going to dry this so that the paint sets and will not move very easily. And then I will go back and use a darker color. So now we are going to add small amounts of paints again on the lower part of this leg. Just very faint dots. I don't want to cover the whole surface. Remember, I'm not using any varnish here, so I don't want to add too much paint, because otherwise it will simply be awful to remove. I will have to use tons of thinner to remove my previous effects, and which is with the risk of removing the paint which is underneath the acrylic paint, and this is not what you want. So really not what you want. So again, I'm going to play this time and work on a even smaller surface, like that. Perfect. Great. And this is the effect you get. This is what layering is. You get different layers of colors, and you build the effect using different tones and making your effects little by little. Okay. Once I feel satisfied with this, I can add some speckles, some mud splatters I will use the dust color first. Using my palette, this time I will use the oil brusher and add a very small amount of paint on the palette, just like this. And then I'm going to take some thinner, mix it with the paint, get a very, well, it's like milk actually, milky consistence. And I will use my little tool to mix the paints, and I will make some tries on my paper towel. So like this, and I don't see it, so I need more product. Okay, so I have very small faint speckles. So what I'm going to do now is just add these speckles, these splatters on my model using my brush. Okay, is there something? Okay, so a typical example here of a mistake, a small mistake, is that I don't have enough product on my brush. So the paint is way too thin and it's almost invisible. So no need to panic. I'm just adding more paint on the palette, a little thinner, and I'm going to start again. First making some. There we go. Here are our first speckles, and they are perfect. So let's go. This is it. All right. So we have our first speckles. They are very thin. Fine. I don't want to have big effects, very big spots of mud. This thing is huge, so it's going to move a lot of earth, of course, but it's not going to. You're not going to have loads of mud everywhere. So basically, this is what I was looking for. Now we're going to repeat the same process using this time the dark mud color. And again, I'm going to repeat my process and just add some speckles here and there. See these speckles? They are just perfect for me. So I'm going to add this effect onto the model once again using the same method. Great. So this is it. We have some very fine speckles. It's barely visible, but it's there. Okay. If you make a mistake and have too big splashes of mud, what you can do is just take your brush, some thinner, and remove some of it. What you can do is play a little bit with this mud. For example, you can add some very fine streaks, but be careful. Don't go over and over on the surface because you're going to make a mess with the oil paints. So just drag the paint and drag some dirt down like this, so as to get very fine effects. This is cool. I'm going to thin this a bit, down a bit. Here we go. And this is it. So now we have some very convincing effects of mud. Alright. If you don't feel happy with it, you can still come back once it's fairly dry, and then you can start again, add some layers, add other colors and stuff like this. Okay. So basically that was it. Thank you very much. I had promised to do this video in Italian, although I don't speak Italian, and Chinese, although I don't speak Chinese at all. So what I'm going to say is ciao, grazie mille, 谢谢, and see you around.